did you have a comment that you wanted to make?
Yeah, well, more in the line of a question for Eric. The special assessment, the taxing, whether they decide to pay off, if they decide to pay in full, they've got to do it in 2024, or it'll start appearing on the 2025 tax bill. Is there an opportunity within that 10-year time frame, if they spread it out, to pay off their portion of the assessment? Is that an option that's available?
Yes. Yes, special assessments can be prepaid.
Okay. Thank you.
Plus accrued interest.
I have a question. Do I have to go all the way up there?
Yes, please.
So along of the contingency plan, which is 10%, if it's totally paid by September, August, 30th, do we still get the contingency back if the numbers come in lower?
If you prepay your special assessment by August 30th of 2024, then you will no longer have an assessment and won't bear any interest, so there won't be any.
But the contingency is already part of the fee, that's what I'm asking. Is it gonna come back off of the fee?
If there's leftover contingency or the project overall, that would be dispersed back to those that are assessed.
Even if you pay it currently?
Correct. We would have to issue a refund at that point, correct, Eric?
Correct, if the excess is greater than 5% of the amount originally assessed.
Thank you.
Hello, Troy Ridenauer, Shiawassee Shores. I wasn't going to speak, but the comment about fare for Rolston Road hit me wrong. I don't know how you guys think 80% of that is fair. We are paying 80%, and when were we notified that it went from 15 years to 10 years? We were told we would have 15 years to pay it off. And then if we want to pay it up front by August 30th, next month, we can fork out $698,000 and we don't have to pay interest. Well, you know, that's not what kind of business we are. So we're getting penalized even more for having to pay interest over 10 years. Because we don't have the luxury of paying $5,000 or even 10, like the garage door company, who are really the people that ruined our road.
Any other public comment? And Ellen, did you have anything else to add before we go to a vote?
Yes, really quickly. So, I guess I mean, I'm not the financial professional, but I can let Carrie hopefully talk here and explain kind of how we came to the 10-year instead of the 15-year. So, because we were running two different projects at the same time, it has created some confusion, right? Where we were doing the Lindenwood project also at the same time that the Rolston Road project was happening. And so while the mechanism as far as the special assessment is ultimately the same, the projects are ultimately significantly different, okay? So, and that comes down to the cost. And so when we were looking at how to finance this project to save, to hopefully, I guess I should say, save the most amount of money, that's when our financial firm had discussed with us the options for financing. And a lot of times because of, and I guess Carrie, I'll refer to you, but a lot of times with the amount, I think she hit on this a little bit earlier, because of the smaller amount considered, you know, in relation to what Lindenwood was, it's a significantly more project. So that one was financed out over 15 years. That one was almost a $15,000 assessment as well per parcel. This one obviously is significantly different. So in talking with our financial firm, we had reviewed all of those options, and I think, Carrie, do you have any comments, I guess, as to overall, like, kind of to help address that?
I mean, we looked at various terms, the 15-year term in particular, on this particular, because of the size. We weren't confident that it would actually even receive bids for the public sale option. And the placement option at the shorter term is we're much more confident in that.
Can we discuss maybe just briefly, and I know that this isn't, again, this is an estimate too, right? So we don't know until we actually complete the financing what our interest rates and things are gonna be. But for Shiawassee, not to just pick on Shiawassee Shores, but Troy, to your point, you guys are receiving the substantial assessment on that road, right? Yeah, obviously, that was after we had done traffic counts, things like that, took a lot of things into consideration. And we understand that, it's frustrating, but that's where we, came to and to try and be equitable across the board. But one of the things, I guess, Carrie, could we talk about the estimated potential savings versus the 15 to the 10-year? And that's the reason we're proposing the 10-year.
Sure, there was, for Shiawassee would be much more savings overall in the interest cost, because you're paying it over a shorter time period. To her point, though, it does make the payments higher on an annual basis, but if we were doing the 15-year option for their assessment, they were paying $311,000 estimated in interest cost versus the 10-year installment, sorry, I'm going to the page, option that is $210,000 in interest cost. So it was a substantial reduction in the interest cost.
Thank you, Carrie.
I'm Marcia Pudney, the park manager at Shiawassee Shores. The difference between 10 and 15 for us is huge, because as you all know, we only have one source of income. We can't just raise the cost of our product. It comes directly from city residents. And honestly, I think the $100,000 is not worth what it's gonna cost the people who are on fixed incomes. I don't think they can afford what we would have to do to make up that difference.
Thank you. And I just wanted to clarify one thing. Eric, you had mentioned if someone had paid, let's say they couldn't make the payment by August 30th of this year, but they paid before next year, they're not paying the interest for the life of the bond, are they?
They'd be paying the interest that accrues from September 1, 2024 through the time of payment next year.
And do people receive like a payoff amount? Or is that something they would contact the city about to see what that amount would be if they wanted to pay it off?
Yes, the latter, they
Okay.
contact the city to find out how much they would have to pay off.
So it's not like when you receive a car payment, here's your payoff amount, good through, that's not gonna be on the bill, but they could contact the city and say, I wanna pay it off, what's the amount that I should pay, so that I don't incur additional interest.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir?
Is there any way that the people in Shiawassee Shores can pay that $5,700 up front? Can that reduce Shiawassee's cost?
I think that's something that would be have to be addressed with Shiawassee Shores. It wouldn't be something that would be for us to address.
See, now we're getting screwed again now.
just have a real quick, fast one for you. If we do an early payoff, is there any prepayment?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. For those who may not have heard, it was if there was an early payoff, is there a prepayment penalty? I believe that was the question, and Eric said no. Okay, thank you. All right, is there now, the recommendation is by the staff. I'm sorry, if people could please silence their phones.
It's an alarm.
Oh. I would, is there a motion to move that city council approve resolution number 26-24 to confirm the special assessment rule for the West Rolston Road Special Assessment District?
Madam Mayor, I have a question. And since Shiawassee Shores is the 80% stakeholder in this, I would propose to make the motion to approve it as a 15-year assessment, since they're the ones that are bearing the cost anyway.
Now, I guess with that 15, if we go to the 15-year, Carrie, did you run the numbers on the difference that's going to be for the individual residents? I just want, I'm not trying to drag it out, I just want to make sure we have that information.
Yes, the individual residents' average annual installment would go from $700 to $518. The interest cost would go from $1,622 to $2,394.
It's worth it to go 15.
I'm
They have
sorry.
the option of prepay all along, so anytime at the point. And just because the residents, not that it's not a big amount, but it's a smaller amount, a much smaller amount than Shiawassee Shores. If Shiawassee Shores wants to bear the interest costs, I think we should let them.
And I'm sorry, Carrie, can you repeat the numbers, 1622 for the 10-year interest?
1622, and these are estimates.
I understand, because we don't know the interest
Correct.
rate yet until it's bid.
It's 1622 for the 10-year, and then 2,394 for the 15-year.
Thank you.
Could you give people the option, like I want 10 and they want 15?
No, it's an all
Or
or,
all or nothing?
it's an all or nothing.
What they're paying.
So Ellen, I guess,
So we have to, so in order to finance this project, we have to hopefully sell bonds, right? So when we sell it, we have to put the package together, either as a 10-year package or a 15-year package. So once the financing is done, it sets it. So we can't have, oh, we're gonna have 10 at 10 years and 15 at 15 years. So once we put the package together and put it on the market for proposals and things like that, so that's why we can't. And yes, you do have the option to prepay.
I just want to make a comment on that financing, just to make it simple. Whether you finance it 10 years or 15 years, and I'm an individual, let's just say I want to pay it off in 10 years and it's being financed at 15. If I don't pay my lower rate and I prepay my same amount that I would have paid on a 10-year, I'm not going to pay it any different. And is prepayment, partial prepayment allowed during the 15-year period so that I as an individual can be paid off in 10 years if I choose to?
I will let our treasurer and our finance take that question.
I'm sorry, repeat the question, please.
If we do this whole deal and we do it on 15 year, and I'm an individual, and I want to stick more to the 10-year plan because it fits my life better, and let's just say that my payment under the 10-year plan was going to be $700 a month, and my payment under the 15-year plan is only $500 a month. Can I pay the $700 anyways, or do I have to make that specific payment and not, can I prepay partial as I go along so that at 10 years I'm done?
Yeah, if I'm understanding your question correctly, yes, you can pay you can pay the amount that you would have paid on the 10-year schedule.
So as an individual, even if it goes as a 15-year, I can still maintain a 10-year plan and get paid off.
Yes, you can do that.
Can you make multiple payments in a year? Like I won the lottery this month, $2,000, and I'm gonna go and give it to you.
There's no prohibition against doing that, no.
I want a clarification, Ellen. Are you stating that at this point, we cannot go to the 15-year option?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just,
And I guess to clarify, is it gonna be harder to sell the bond for 15 years because of the, I guess, lower?
so
Because of
that,
the value, that's
Correct.
what was stated. Right now, the only motion that's been made was a motion to have this done at 15 years, and to confirm, but do it at 15 years instead of 10 years, as has been explained by Carrie, that it is more expensive and it's harder to get a bid at 15. I'm just trying to recap, so everyone can hear, since it's been difficult. So then the 15 years, you could prepay, it would assist Shiawassee Shores. It does increase the total amount of interest that people would pay if they take the 15 years to pay. But people can prepay, they can make their other installments, and there is no prepayment penalty. So since we've added a few other things, does anyone from council have any further questions, Ray or Heather? No?
Thanks, Brett.
Questions, I just.
Okay. Are you, Elizabeth, are you supporting that?
I'm supporting
The motion? Okay.
so just to clarify, the motion is to approve the resolution with the, obviously the corrected amount, the $873,167.52, with a 15-year assessment.
Correct.
I just want to make sure.
All right, thank you. Kristyn, will you roll call, please?
Dick?
Yes.
McDermott?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Simons?
Yes.
Colbert?
Yes.
Kristyn?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, architectural services for the Linden Mill project.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors. Before you tonight, you have a motion to approve architectural services for the Linden Mill Pond project. As is mentioned in the memo, for many years, the city staff, various committees and residents have been discussing the importance of the preservation and remodeling of the Linden Mill building. Despite good intentions and a deep desire to accomplish that goal, the lack of funding prevented the project from moving forward. Fortunately, the city did recently receive financial assistance from the state of Michigan, which will allow the preservation to begin. As soon as the financial assistance was received, City Council began to work with experts and determine the highest and best use for the mill. Once financing was received, the city assembled a small construction committee to facilitate the transition from studies and discussions to actual work of preserving the mill. The committee directed staff to solicit bids, which we did back in June. As part of the process, we did invite architectural firms to walk through the mill so that they could determine if they were interested in participating in the project or not. Representatives from 12 firms walked through the mill as part of the mandatory site visit. On June 28, 2024, we received 3 bids from interested architectural firms. Before you tonight, the committee reviewed the proposals, and they also conducted in-person interviews. And the committee, after taking all of that to account, unanimously selected H2A Architects as our architectural firm of choice. So as is mentioned before you tonight, was just a motion to approve the architectural services for Linden Mill project to H2A Architects of Davison, Michigan, in the amount of $189,583.22. Glad to take any questions you may have at this time.
Thank you. Ellen, did you have anything to add with respect to the awarding of the architectural services for the mill project?
No, other than just the fact that I appreciated the process that we went through. Cunningham Limp facilitated the interviews. We were able to engage and directly ask questions, and I feel that H2A is definitely going to be a great firm to work with and have on our team to move the renovations forward.
And Brad, did you have anything else to add as someone who was part of the interview process?
No, out of the firms we interviewed, H2A is definitely the more personable, very historic-driven firm. They all have a lot of experience with dealing with historic buildings in SHPO, but they just seemed very more personable, more of a Linden feel into a core, keeping the core building intact.
Thank you. Heather, questions, comments?
I assume that the $189,000 will come out of the $4 million that we're going to be moving?
Correct. Pam?
I think it's a wonderful choice. I've seen their work in Owasso where they restored some damaged buildings that had significant repair issues, let's say, and also in the city of Davison. They do wonderful work.
Thank you. Brenda?
I agree with you, Pam. Some really nice stuff going on out there. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's pretty exciting. I was looking at the Gantt chart too. And I see that the plan is to start construction in the first quarter of 2025. Is that how I understand that?
That's the goal, and sooner if at all possible.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
I've seen some of their work and I'm very excited for them to work on this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad, anything further? Thank you. And Ray, any comments?
Just one question. They were not the low bidder, and that was still the choice.
Correct, they were not. I think it was more based on, I guess, Kristyn, you have the slide. Yeah. Don, do you want to address that at all?
Sure.
That's in the cost.
So on paper, we always look at low bid, and when we think it's the right opportunity, we select low bid. But once we went through the interview process and got a feel for each of the architectural firms, we just felt as though they were a better fit. The project manager for the project has previous experience with buildings here in the city of Linden. So we were impressed with her, background and familiarity with the city of Linden. And in addition, you could tell that she went the extra mile when it came to delving in and reviewing the information that we had passed along to each of the firms. She had read all the reports, and she was just personally familiar with this project. She just gave us a level of comfort that the others did not.
So in your opinion, it's worth the additional $40,000?
I do believe that we will get better service for our money in this case.
I would agree with that.
Thank you. Any question?
Thank you. And I was part of the committee, and I know we've reviewed, there's a lot of material to review. In reviewing, unfortunately, I was tied up in a trial, was not able to be part of the interviews, but gave my comments. And one of my comments, even looking through the materials, I favored H2A, but said to Don and Ellen that, you know, so much of it's gonna be the feel and how they fit with the community. So, I think that is a good, yeah.
Madam Mayor, I can add to that. WTA was my choice on paper until we did the interview. They didn't have that fit, they didn't have the feel.
So the good interview made up the $40,000 difference.
The feel for the entire company overall and the way the company works together. The other company just seemed very disjointed. And they also had some very unexpected issues with their timeline. And they also had some questionables in their fees, in my opinion.
Yeah, and to Don and Brad's point regarding the fee, I think Don hit it on the head that when she definitely dove in and really researched the project and did a lot of background research herself. Her fee felt like it was definitely more researched and better prepared than the others.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know, Karen, you had some questions that I kind of deferred for this part of the meeting, so I'll start you with public comment.
So my first question is, this fee that is $189,503 is an architectural, they're doing the designs, what's going to happen with the building. This is not the actual work of fixing the building.
Correct.
Okay. And then the second one is, so they're not going to have their evaluation done, their plans drawn up until the first quarter of 2025.
No, I think that according to the timeline, that's when we would actually start construction, so they would have theirs in advance of that. And as Don said, sooner if possible.
Okay. And so do we at this point have, do y'all at this point have anybody lined up who's going to be doing the actual construction?
I think if Don wants to address the process of, I guess, making sure we proceed in the correct process of getting the job done.
Sure, so, excuse me, once the architectural firm comes up with the appropriate design, make sure that we're following all SHPO requirements and that we're gonna obviously retain the historical value of the building. At that time, we'll know what work actually has to be performed, and then we will be going out to bid for that actual work. So we will be coming back before council for an actual construction bid that will be solicited.
And our timeline on this money is how long?
The timeline is till the end of 2025.
Gotta speed it up, guys. And then the next question had to do with, so do we have any idea at all what's going to happen with the library and museum and the town council chamber area while this construction project's going on?
So, yeah, we've actually met with the library, and we've actually met with the Historical Society, and have informed them that we will have to empty the building. The contractor, once we start renovations, they're not going to be able to be in the building, same with council chambers. That's why we've tried to make adjustments in anticipation of that as well, and moving our meetings. And so we have had conversations with both of those entities, and once we get closer to knowing exact timeline, we'll continue those conversations to make sure that they're well aware of what needs to happen. So.
And is there going to be any monies available with this grant money for putting these people in different places that they have to move from?
So we don't have confirmation on that, but I do think that we can work with the state on that to see if that we would have the potential.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Any other public comments or questions on the architectural services contract?
I just have a quick question. So you mentioned
that they did some work in the city of Linden. Can you point out what city of Linden buildings they've worked with?
I wish I could. It no longer exists, unfortunately. It was part of the Union Block project, and they worked, I believe they worked on the Broad Street Grill. I'm not familiar if that's the right name, but unfortunately it burned down, so I can't point out exactly what they accomplished.
It was a wonderful building.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll answer that question.
Any other comments, public comments? Hearing and seeing none, I will move to approve architectural services for the Linden Mill Project H2A Architects of Davison, Michigan, in the amount of $189,583.22.
Support.
And Kristyn, we have a roll call, please?
Kristyn,
Yes?
Colbert,
Yes.
Simons,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the city manager's report.
I sent out a pretty lengthy report to you guys already, but I'll just recap it really quick. As you guys know, we have the Packard Cruiser. I'll plug that for Chief Sutter. It is a friendly competition with our neighbors in Argentine, but we do ask that you help us achieve that winning the challenge with donating to Linden and stuff like that. So I did, the information is on our Facebook page, and so we're hoping that we can bring it home and win. Did we win last year, Chief?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so we want to bring the title home again.
We do, but it's all about the troops.
Absolutely. And the water trail grant, Mike and I did have a meeting with the Water Trail Coalition in the state of Michigan to help try to answer some questions. Mike and I will be bringing back something in August for that. He can probably expand on that during his time. We're continuing to just make the transition with Losi and Kristyn in the clerk's role and our new deputy, and things are going well. We have National Night Out planning underway. We've had some good responses with participation and things like that, so we will need volunteers. So if anybody would like to volunteer for the event, please let us know. I do have an upcoming meeting with a biologist from the DNR to address deer concerns, the deer population in the city of Linden. So hopefully more information to come. We talked about Rolston Road at length. Economic development, as you guys see, we do have some great things happening. 106 South Bridge, the new owners of that building, which is where the ice cream garage is, they are putting together some concepts and renovations for that building. The daycare next to us right now has been sold. Actually, the new daycare is opening, Little Learners Childcare. And we're continuing to hear a lot of rumors that's happening with the Rite Aid closing, but nothing has been decided as of yet. But I know that the owners of Alpine are considering all options with that as well. And then Bridge Street Coffee is actually in the Beloved Books building. They've done a phenomenal job, hearing nothing but positive comments and feedback on that. And then 120 North Bridge Street, the remaining vacant building at Dr. Wax's development, actually is, we have a proposal from Wild Child Photography. So that's under review, and I think with a pending final walkthrough soon. So that'll be coming. We're continuing to work with staff on potential ways that we can explore ways to communicate with the public. We're exploring a text alert system right now with either Nicole, and there's one other company that we're looking at, can't remember, but that would be for some urgent matters, if there's anything that we need to communicate out right away. And then working with Tri-County on some other options for newsletters and printing. Obviously, you guys know we have the new sound system in place with the mic, so hopefully that helped for the audience to hear better. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend River Rose this weekend, but I've heard nothing but positive comments on that. It was a great weekend. It was a beautiful weekend for that. So I really appreciate them and things that they continue to bring to the downtown. As of today, our air conditioner is back up and running at City Hall. It was not working this morning, so got a little toasty in there, but as of this afternoon, it was back up and running. So as always, any questions?
Any council questions for Ellen tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to our city attorney's report.
I'm handling two MTT cases. One is with Symphony, valuation disclosures and pre-hearing statements are due August 5. We are on track to meet that deadline. There's been an exchange of information. We're looking for some supplemental or additional information for our expert, and we anticipate being able, as I said, to meet that deadline. There's a second case involving Dollar General. That will be dismissed. There's a stipulation to withdraw that, and I anticipate that will be processed shortly. As Ellen mentioned, had a Zoom meeting this morning with David Losing and a representative from the state dealing with the watershed and the request that the city serve as a fiduciary. I will have some more information for council to consider at next month's meeting. Finally, I've talked to Ellen about doing a training session for the Planning Commission. None has been scheduled yet. That's something that I do for my municipalities upon request, and never done one for the city. Looking forward to it, and more information to come.
Thank you, Mike. Next on our agenda, we do have department reports from the Police Department, Code Enforcement, Department of Public Works, and the Fire Department. Next, we have the council comments and reports. Pam, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I also received a re-inspection for my home on Silver Lake Road, so I'm part of everybody else. It's been 5 years since the last re-inspection, so I'm also part of that. And it was really fun to volunteer at some of the events this weekend, and at Larry. Karaoke! All right, Larry. That was fun. And I think having the kayak events and stuff has brought up a point after talking to various people like Larry. Maybe we want to consider turning Tinkner into a one-way street so that we can have a drop-off point for kayaks, make it nice and safe, because when I was volunteering, it looked to me like it was really hard for people to maneuver around us. And so if we had a safety zone of like just in front of the kayak area, where you could drop it off with no stays no longer than 10 minutes, and then you'd have to move. I think it would also allow for parking along there to ease our congestion. Thank you, Larry.
Yeah,
We talked about that at the car show too.
From East Street to down along Tickner, the curve out to Silver Lake Road, that corner gets, I'm sorry for interrupting, but that corner gets crazy with two-way traffic. People walk across that road, not paying attention, going into Sharp's parking lot. If it were just one way, then cars could pass safely. I'm not sure, but it's worth a try. That corner is terrible, guys.
It would really improve our safety margin. I wanted to thank Don. Thank you for getting rid of that very unsafe oak tree there on Tinkner at the cemetery. You branched out, dude. Thank you. And also, Scott, can we please turn the electronic speed sign around so we can capture incoming traffic?
We've done that before, it's on a schedule.
All right, just asking, but I really appreciate seeing that. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Pam. Brenda?
Pam said enough for both of us. I don't have any other comments. Thanks.
Elizabeth, any comments tonight?
I want to thank Charter Senior Living for hosting the Grow Linden. She put together a beautiful thing. It was just absolutely fabulous with lots of little attentions to detail. So I want to thank her. And as always, I want to thank happening in Linden with the karaoke. My kids enjoyed that very much, so thank you.
Brad?
Luckily, you're lucky my battery's light is flashing here, so it's gonna die soon. I just wanted to thank everybody that came out to River Rose this weekend. everybody that volunteered, members of council that volunteered. You know, it takes the community to make events like that happen. It brought at least 5,000 people downtown over the weekend. Mill Pond was full. Everybody's around downtown. And the Garden Gate tour on Sunday was well received for everybody I was talking to. They were happy that it was in Linden. They were very impressed. There were people that hadn't been here in a long time, and we're very impressed by the downtown and Mill Pond area. So, thanks to everybody that participated in all the events. Appreciate it all.
Thanks, Brett. Ray?
No additional comments this evening.
Heather?
I want to thank Happening in Linden for the river roast. It was a great event, lots of fun. And as far as Pam's comment and Larry's chiming in, I think the one-way at the launch there is something we should maybe look into, because it is definitely a problem.
All right, thank you. So we did have a historic district meeting. It was our quarterly meeting last week. We have seen some good progress and things going forward. We had the new business owner come in and is proposing work, but still things are pretty preliminary, so they're gonna start some work. It was formerly the Giving Grace building. Mr. Baker, and I think he may have left, did reach out. He had emailed me, I don't know if he'd emailed everyone. He was concerned about us maybe picking on Lindenwood. I wasn't aware of the reassessment letters going out because we're not part of that decision. It's determined by the assessor, not by the council. But I did respond to him indicating that, we weren't trying to pick on residents of Lindenwood or even West Rolston. I did also receive an email from Ms. Pierce in Lindenwood. She may have emailed other counselors. It was this afternoon. And she was concerned about the soil that would be put back in because there's clay in the area, and wanted any soil that was replaced not to be clay, but to be top of the line soil and Kentucky bluegrass, grass seed. I don't know about the specifics, but I'm just sharing the information that was brought to me. I do appreciate people contacting me. Unfortunately, as I think everyone's learned through this process, the rumor mill in a small town is bad, and it gives a lot of misinformation of what happens. Sometimes I am amazed by the things that I've supposedly done by the time it gets back to me and someone asks me a question. So please, if you have questions, especially if it's something about me, about council, contact me. I'm happy to answer questions, meet with people. Contact the city if you have questions. I think that's the best way to make sure that people have the right information, because we are trying to be transparent with things. I think that events this weekend were great. I was volunteering at Riverfest Friday evening, and it gave a good opportunity to speak with people. There were a lot of people. Everyone was enjoying it. It was a perfect night for it. Saturday, I happened to run into town because my son wanted to go to the library, and I'm proud that he was saving his money and let's go to the library. And ran into Karen as she was doing the tours at the mill, and people had some questions. I just happened to be walking in as they were asking about what was going on. So it's good to see people interested in the community, and also I appreciate everyone taking time to come out and volunteer their time to help these events be a success. For us, that's part of being on council. It's not just coming to these meetings, but being part of the community and being active in the community and what we do. So with that plug, I have been working on National Night Out, and the city has taken that over, and I've been meeting with Alan and the chiefs to have this event. It is on August 6th from 5 to 8. We have gotten a great response from people participating, and we are looking for some people to assist. I know we'll need some people. I talked to Chief Will, and I think and Chief Sutter, I think having people start at 3:30 to help as people come in, and then I'll have some people later on. So if people are interested in assisting with that event, let me know. I will also create a sign-up genius to sign people up. But again, it's a community event. It's a great event that's put on, and I know a lot of the families enjoy it. The businesses in the community enjoy that, and they, reached out and are looking forward to coming in and being part of this. It's also the day before Back to the Bricks, so it's a busy time in Linden coming up at the beginning of August. So thank you everyone for the hard work. I know even today is a long meeting. We've been here for over 2 hours now. But I do appreciate everyone's time, and I appreciate people contacting me and asking questions when they have questions. We can get accurate information out. The next item on our agenda is the financial reports. Those are $92,290.54. Were there any questions on the bills tonight? No questions. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
I make a motion that we pay our bills.
Support.
And Kristyn, can we have a roll call, please?
Hobart,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Kristyn,
Yes.
McDermott,
yes.
Howe,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Simons.
Yes.
Motion carries, and we have no closed session. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.